You've been putting points on a credit card for years, maybe a lot of points. And when the time comes to use them, you just log into your card's travel portal, you pick your flight or hotel, and you just spend them right there. Easy, right? Well, here's what nobody told you. That might be the lowest value move that you can make with those points. And there's one timing trap hiding out there in plain sight that could lock you out of the deal at the worst possible moment. Want to get way better value out of the points you've already earned? Then stick around. I want to tell you about a credit card I held for 20 years, the American Express Blue Sky card. I signed up for it way back in 2004, and I genuinely loved it. It had no annual fee. It required almost no thought. I used it really for everything, and every year a modest pile of travel credit would quietly accumulate in the background. The math was simple. 1 point for every dollar I spent, and for every 7,500 points I redeemed, I got $100 back in travel-related credits. Airlines, hotels, rental cars, it just worked. And that's exactly the problem. When something just works, you stop questioning it. I never looked up, I never compared. I was comfortable, and comfortable was costing me money I didn't even know I was losing. Here's where that math actually landed. 1 point per dollar, $100 back for every 7,500 points. That works out to be about 1 1/3 cents per point in total value. I was spending about $50,000 a year on that card, so every year I was generating somewhere around $670-ish, something like that in travel value. It's not nothing, but here's what I didn't know. While I was happily carrying that card, better options had been building up for years. A combination of the right Chase cards, one for everyday spending, one for travel and dining, well, that could generate somewhere around 125,000 points on that same $50,000 of annual spend. And that 1 1/4 cents per point in Chase's travel portal, well, that's over $1,560 in travel value per year. That's roughly $900 more every single year. And over 5 years, that gap grows to nearly $4,500. And over the full 20 years I held my old Amex card, well, that number is close to $18,000. Now, I'm not telling you that story to seem foolish, though it does sting a little every time I have to say it out loud. I'm telling it to you because I suspect some version of that sounds familiar to you. The card that just works, the points that just pile up, the assumption that you're getting a fair deal. Today is about what happens after you've made the right card decision and built up a real balance of points. Because there's another level to this that most people never even explore. The difference between a good return and an extraordinary one. And we're going to walk through exactly how to find it. And the one timing trap that can close the door on that deal if you're not careful. Let's go. Now here's the foundational idea. And it's simpler than it sounds. When you've built up a balance of Chase Ultimate Rewards points or American Express membership rewards, you have two basic ways to spend them. Option 1, use them inside the bank's own travel portal, the built-in booking engine where you search flights and hotels and apply your points at the checkout. Option 2, transfer those points out of the bank's ecosystem entirely and into a third-party loyalty program, an airline's frequent flyer account, or maybe a hotel chain's reward program, and then book that award directly from there. The question is, which option gives you more value per point? Inside the Chase travel portal, your points have a baseline value. If you hold the Sapphire Preferred, which is the card I carry, you're looking at 1 1/4 cents per point on standard bookings. Now, that's a real number. And on 100,000 points, well, that's $1,250 of travel purchasing power. Now, I do want to flag something because the portal has gotten more complicated recently. Chase introduced a feature called Points Boost in 2025, which means select bookings, premium cabin flights, certain hotels, they can push that value up even higher, up to 1 3/4 cents per point on the Sapphire Preferred for qualifying flights. So the portal isn't a flat number anymore. It kind of depends on what you're booking. I'll put a note on the screen, but the honest guidance is this. Check what your specific redemption is worth before you commit. Verify current values at chase.com. But here's where it gets interesting. When you transfer those same points to one of Chase's airline or hotel partners at, say, 1-to-1 ratio, meaning 1,000 Chase points becomes 1,000 partner miles or hotel points, independent valuations can climb. Points and miles research sites consistently use Chase Ultimate Rewards points at around 2 cents each when transferred to the right partner. World of Hyatt, one of the most consistently valuable hotel transfer partners, comes in at around 1.8 cents per point, according to NerdWallet's analysis. Some airline redemptions, though, in premium cabins, they push higher still. That gap, $5,500 to $7,500 on a 100,000 point transfer. Well, that's the whole game. That's the difference between paying retail and paying wholesale. As a former merchant, I spent years evaluating products through the lens of the value versus price. And in that world, there was something called an accommodation program. It's a deal where the manufacturer offered directly to some of the people inside the industry, kind of in the know people. If you were doing serious business with a major brand, they'd occasionally open a window where you could buy their products at prices the general public would never see. The deal was real, the window was limited, and you had to know that it existed even to take advantage of it. In fact, oftentimes you had to be invited. Now that's the transfer partner program. The price is right there on the shelf. That's your portal. The accommodation window is the transfer partner list, and the deal gets even better when the bank runs a transfer bonus. A few times a year, Chase and Amex will offer a promotional bonus on transfers to a specific partner, meaning you get more than the standard 1-to-1 ratio. A 20% bonus on a 100,000 point transfer doesn't give you 100,000 miles, it gives you 120,000. Free. Right now, as of this filming, Chase is running a 20% bonus when you transfer to Aer Lingus, British Airways, or Iberia, all of which use the same Avios currency and offer solid value across a wide range of international routes. Now, and I want to be clear about this, transfer values and promotional bonuses change frequently. What I'm showing you today is accurate at the time of this filming, and the underlying strategy is durable and reliable, but the specific numbers will shift. Always verify the current rate and any active bonuses directly with your card issuer before you move a single point. Think of what I'm giving you today as a framework and not the final answer. Here's the step-by-step process for executing a transfer. Step 1, figure out the type of trip you want to take, and more on the way I phrased it like that in just a moment. Step 2, log into your Chase Ultimate Rewards portal and navigate to Transfer Points to Partners. Scan the partner list for any active bonuses, and they'll be displayed right there on the transfer page. Step 3, cross-reference that partner with an award availability option. Before you transfer a single point, confirm that the specific flight or hotel that you want is actually bookable with miles. This step is non-negotiable, and I'll explain exactly why in just a minute. Step 4, once you've confirmed availability, initiate the transfer. Select the partner, connect your loyalty account, enter the number of points, and hit submit. Step 5, the moment your miles land in that loyalty account, you'll get a confirmation. Go book immediately. Don't wait. On the hotel side, the same logic applies. And there's one partner that experienced points travelers will always come back to, and that's the world of Hyatt. Hyatt still uses a published award chart, meaning you can look up exactly how many points a specific property will cost before you even commit to anything. Award nights start at 3,500 points, and the transfer ratio from Chase is 1-to-1. For a hotel that might run $300 or $400 a night in cash, the math can be pretty striking. The ceiling on that kind of return is real. It's not the everyday outcome, but understanding that it exists and knowing the path on how to get there, well, that's the whole difference between treating your points as a convenience and treating them as an asset. Hey, real quick, if this is the kind of thinking that's useful to you, go ahead and hit the like button and please subscribe. This channel is for people who want the actual reasoning behind a recommendation and not just some ranked list without any explanations. All right, let's get back into it. We've got the most important part coming up next. All right, there's a note in the hard-earned field notes on this one, and it's going to have a line under it, so you're going to want to pay special attention. Here's the scenario. You've done the homework. You've found a transfer partner with a strong bonus that's running. You've confirmed there's an award that you want. You're ready. You initiate the transfer. 100,000 points right out of your Chase account and into your airline loyalty account. And then you wait. Most transfers are nearly instant. You hit submit, and within a few minutes, the miles appear in your loyalty account. You're all ready to book. But not always. Depending on the partner, a transfer can take up to, say, 48 hours sometimes. And if the name on your Chase account doesn't exactly match the name on your loyalty partner program account, you can add even more time to that clock. Now, here's why the clock matters. Award inventory is limited. Airlines and hotels release a fixed number of seats and rooms at the award price, and that inventory can disappear at any moment. Another traveler books the same seat, the partner pulls back availability, the window all of a sudden closes. If your miles are still in transit when that happens, the award you planned for is gone. Now, the transfer is a one-way street. You can't move those points back to Chase or Amex. Now, I want to take a breath here because that sounds more alarming than it needs to be. Your points don't disappear. They just don't evaporate. They're sitting in that partner loyalties accounts perfectly intact, waiting to be used. The problem is more narrow than it at first appears. They can't be used for that specific trip right now. That's a real inconvenience. Nobody's minimizing that. But it is a very different thing from losing your points entirely. You'll find another redemption. It just won't be the one you had in mind. The way to avoid that situation, though, entirely is the step I already walked you through. Confirm the award availability before you transfer. Not after, before. Have the booking screen open. Confirm the seat or that the room is still there and available. And then only move your points after you've confirmed. The moment those miles land, go complete the booking. On the name match issue, that bears repeating because it's an easy fix that most people never do. Before you transfer anything anywhere, take 10 minutes and update your name across every loyalty program you have. Airlines, hotels, rental car programs, cruise lines, get them all to match your legal name exactly as it appears on your credit cards and on your passport. One session, done once, and you've removed a whole category of potential issues from every transfer that you'll ever make. Now, I know that sounds like a little bit of homework, and it is a little, but it's the kind of 10-minute task that saves you a 48-hour headache at the worst possible time, which is when you've already found the award that you want and you're trying to lock it in before someone else does. There's one more timing principle worth mentioning, and it connects to something genuinely counterintuitive about how to approach this strategy. Most of us plan travel the same way. We pick our destination first, then we figure out how we're going to get there. And that sequence feels natural. But when you're working with a transfer partner and working with award availability, that sequence sometimes needs to flip. Now, I have a friend whose wife works for Delta. They travel constantly, but they fly standby, which means they never get to lock in a destination completely in advance. What they do instead is they decide the type of trip that they want first. Say it's February in Minneapolis. It's cold and they want to go someplace warm. Then they look and see what's actually available, and then they pull the trigger. They might end up in Hawaii. They might end up in Aruba or Cancun or Tahiti. They just don't even know until they look. The destination is determined by what's open and not the other way around. Now, award redemptions can work similarly. You might have a specific city in mind, but there's no availability. If there's no availability on that route, well, when the bonus is running, the deal doesn't help you. The smarter play is to often start with the type of trip, warm or cold, city or beach, short haul or long, and then shop the available award inventory to find out where the value lines up. Sometimes the best deals take you to somewhere you'd really never have even chosen first. And that's often a better outcome than the original plan. Now, honestly, some of my favorite trips have been the ones where I've ended up somewhere unexpected because the deal was right. There's something to be said for letting the value lead. Let me bring this all together with something from my career. When I was buying mobile phone accessories for one of America's largest retailers, one of the most persistent challenges I dealt with was a first-party charging cable for a certain very well-known smartphone company. It was the #1 unit seller in the entire accessories category, not because it was the best product on the shelf, but because customers trusted the logo. They felt safe. The familiar brand meant confidence. Well, the honest truth is that cable really didn't match up spec for spec against the third-party alternatives. Say a cable from Anker or Belkin, well, they offered more durable construction, longer lengths, additional color options, and they came in at a lower price point. By every objective measure, more value for the customer. But the logo on the familiar brand kept people coming back, spending more money, replacing cables that wore out faster than they should have. Now, to be fair, I understand why customers made that choice. Trust is a real thing. Brand recognition is a real thing. I'm not faulting anyone for buying what felt safe, but part of my job was knowing that better options existed and helping customers find them when they were really ready to look. That's the portal. Familiar, right there when you log in, and for the traveler who flies once or twice a year with no particular destination pressure, it's genuinely fine, but you're reading the fine print now. And now you know the accommodation window exists. And the points sitting in your account at this moment are an asset, one that's worth considerably more than the sticker price if you're willing to take one deliberate step, just kind of beyond the default. Now, for my own balance, a couple 100,000 Chase points built up over a few years of intentional spending across a couple of cards. Here's the sequence that I'm planning. I'm watching for a transfer bonus to a partner that serves the region I've been thinking about. A part of the world where the skyline surprises you, where the food is extraordinary, and where a city-state smaller than most American counties somehow maintains and contains the entire world within it. I'll confirm award availability first. Names will match, and the moment I initiate that transfer, the booking screen will be open and ready. Links to the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal and the American Express Membership Rewards portal are down in the description below, along with a link to the best free resource for tracking current transfer bonuses in real time. Here's a quick tip before we wrap. Set up a free account at either Frequent Miler or the Points Guy, or both, and turn on their transfer bonus alerts. Both sites maintain a running up-to-date list of every active bonus across Chase, Amex, Capital One, and others. When a bonus drops on a partner that you care about, you'll know within hours, and this will give you plenty of time to check availability and move before the window closes. 90 seconds to set one up, it's free, and it does the monitoring work so you don't have to. There's a link in the description below. Now, today we covered how to get more out of what you've already earned, and that's the planning piece. But great travel isn't just planning. It's the right planning aimed at the right destination, somewhere that rewards every single bit of the work that you just put into it. Now, in this episode right over here, we're going to put all three of those pieces together. The right gear, the right point strategy, and a destination that is going to really genuinely surprise you. Think of a city-state that packs more wonder per square miles than almost anywhere on Earth. Think food, architecture, culture, all of it. It's all dialed up and far more accessible than you'd ever expect. And that, my friends, is better Latitude. I'll see you over there.